Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel 10 Minutes Cloud Learning. In this video, I'll take you through one of the most important service that is IAM or Identity Access Management. So let's start with some typical example. That is, let's assume that okay, in a project there are three different teams. One is development team and whose role is to develop the application. The other one is QA team whose role is to test the application. And then we have DevOps team whose role is to provision the required infrastructure and then deploy and monitor the application. So if you ask me, each of these teams has different roles. Let's assume that the application needs to be deployed into an EC2 instance. In this case, DevOps team should have the full access to create, modify or delete the EC2 instance, whereas the developer can have only modify access enabled and the tester or the QA team can have only listing access. So it's very much evident to have a different access permission for these users or group of users. And sometimes it's nice to have a user common across all these three groups. Okay, as you can see here, we have a common user in QA team, we have the same user in DevOps team, and we also have the same user in development team, right? And he will be these three guys will be forming a separate group, that is they might be called as a admin group, okay, who will be having the full authority or full access, right? So let's summarize what we discussed. Okay, so identity and access management is something that enables you to manage access to AWS services and resources securely. IAM is a feature of your AWS account offered at no additional charge. So this is one of the important thing that we need to remember is that okay, IAM, it does not cost you anything. Similarly, root account created by default should not be used or shared, because by default what happens is the root account will have full access. Okay, and in case I do share my credentials of my root account with anybody, he or she may do some kind of deletion or removal of any of the resources, right? So it is very, we have to ensure that we are using root account very carefully. Okay, and that is why it is not recommended to be shared among different users or different groups of users. Similarly, users are people within our organization and can be grouped. As you can see over here, we have grouped different people based on their roles: development team, QA team, and the DevOps team. Groups only contain users and not other groups, right? Users don't have to belong to a group, and users can belong to a multiple groups. As I said, there is one user which can be part of these three teams. So who will be having full authority, so that we can also form a group accordingly, right? So let's do one thing. Let's jump into one of the demo. So let me open my AWS console. I'm inside my AWS console and I'm going to search for this service called IAM. Okay. So now what we are planning to do as part of this demo is that we are going to create two different sets of users. That is, one user belongs to the DevOps team and another user belongs to a QA team. So the DevOps user will have full access, whereas the QA user will have limited access. And that is something which we want to demonstrate, right? So let's do that. I'll create add user. Let's say DevOps user 1. I'll give him both access, and here I'll give him some, let me give some custom password. So DevOps 1 2 3 4 hash, let's say. Now I'll go to next. I'll add this user to a group. Let's say I know I'm going to create this group called DevOps, and inside this, you can see here, we have already there are some policies or you know um, available within AWS, which we can choose. Okay, for the time being, I'm going to choose for my DevOps user. I'm going to choose AWS or EC2 full access. Let's say this one I'll select and I'll create a group. So what I have done so far is that, okay, I have created a group, and inside that group, I have a user called DevOps user one. I'll just assign some tag. Now I'll click on the create user button. Okay, if you want, you can download this CSV file, which will have all the credentials that we have selected, that is the custom password and everything. And here we have a send email option. We can also send out an email to the specific DevOps user that this is the credentials that you need to use, right? So we have this access ID and secret key, which is also being generated because we had selected this option while creating the user. So let me close this, and as you can see, I am able to create a user called DevOps user. Okay, I'll go to my dashboard section, and you can see here, the URL through which you will be asked to log in for DevOps user one is this one. In case I want to customize, I can do that. Let's say I'll give something called as DevOps. Let's say DevOps user. Oh my God. Let's say I'll give dev one ops user. Okay. So as you can see, we have created this. Now the URL looks like this. With this URL, I will be able to log in for my DevOps user one. So I'll copy this URL. I'll open another tab and I'll paste that, and it will prompt me to enter the user ID and password. So as you can see, DevOps user. So I'll say DevOps user, and password is DevOps 1234 hash. Okay, I'll log into my AWS console using the new user ID, whatever is being created. Okay, let me just copy the URL. So this is my URL. My username is DevOps user one, and password is DevOps user 123 hash. So as you can see, I'm able to log into this AWS console using the new user ID, whatever I have created, right? And here you can see here that user ID is being displayed over here, right? And this user ID will have, as we have given EC2 full admin access, which means it should be able to create it should be able to create an instance. I can create a, I can launch an instance using any of these things, right? I'll go ahead with the default options here. Okay. I'll go ahead with the default options because I'm just trying to test whether I'm able to a new um, launch a new EC2 instance or not. So as you can see, I'm able to launch a new instance here, right? Okay. Now the next thing that we need to do is that let's create another user who will have only read-only access and who should not be allowed to create an EC2 instance, right? So for that purpose, we have to again log into our. So now we need to create another user for the QA group. So let's go ahead and create. So I'm here in my root account. I'm going to go to users. I'll say add user and I'll say user is QA user 1. Let me copy this and keep it handy. And I'll also give him only AWS console access, let's say. And let's say the password is QA123 hash. Okay, we have to, let's say QA user 123 hash. I'll copy this password which I need to log in. I'll click on next, and similarly I'll create another group called QA group, and here I'll just say EC2 read only access. As you can see inside this we have only the read permissions, only I can list or read, right? I'm not allowed to create. So I'll go ahead and create, and I'll give some name to my role, to my user. Let's say QA user, and click on next, and click on next, that is create user. Now I'm successfully able to create another user called QA user which will have very limited access, and here also we have the option to send out an email to the respective user, saying that okay, these are your credentials and you can log in using this, right? So now let me close this. I'll go to my dashboard. So now I'll log into QA user. I'll be using the same alias that I have created earlier. It is just that the username and the password will go for a change, but the alias link will remain the same. So I'll say QA user 1, then the password is this one. I'll sign in. It is prompting me to enter the new password. It all depends what kind of configuration we have done. So I've just changed the password here. Now I'll go to, so if you see I have logged in here using QA user, right? Earlier we had this DevOps user, now we have this QA user. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create an EC2 instance, and let's see if I'm able to do that or not. But as per the as per the policy, I'm not supposed to do that, right? Or I'm not authorized to create any or launch any instance. But I'm able to list this. I'm able to see which are the EC2 instances available in my account, right? So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to create or launch an instance. Let's see. So I'm able to launch this. I'm able to select all these options. I'll go ahead to the default selections here. I'll go ahead to the next, and I'll go ahead to the next. Now proceed without key pair. Now when I'm going to click on this launch instance, it is going to throw me an error. Let's see that. Now you can see here it says that you are not authorized to perform this operation. It is because the the policy that is associated with this user, it does not have the permission to create an EC2 instance, right? So what we learned today is that we understood what is IAM users and what is its importance, and how to create an IAM user and what kind of permissions that we can associate. Okay, I hope you like the video. Please do like or subscribe my channel. Thank you.